because I guess she decided, oh, this will be fun to crap on him when he's down, when she perceives him as down. Taylor Swift just endorsed Kamala Harris. F you, Taylor Swift.
Donald Trump had a really bad night after a disastrous debate against Vice President Kamala Harris, and then mega pop star Taylor Swift decided to take that bad night and turn it into a potentially election-ending disaster by formally endorsing the vice president, and MAGA Republicans everywhere are freaking the hell out, and we have to talk about it. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we have several clips to talk about in this video, and I want you to prepare yourself for maximum schadenfreude, the panic, the fear, the terror, the rage of MAGA Republicans across the country, major MAGA influencers, is just so glorious, right? So, yeah, full disclosure, the biggest pop star in the world, the biggest music icon in the world, Taylor Swift, has finally formally endorsed the vice president. So, she posted it on Instagram with a picture of herself and her cat. You can probably already predict where this is going. There's going to be a J.D. Vance reference. And then she made a post alongside it explaining her rationale. We are going to read it, or rather have it read to us. But before we do, just to give you a little bit of taste of what we're dealing with, I'm going to cut instantly to former Fox News host and major MAGA influencer Megyn Kelly reacting to this in real time, because she does not handle it well. And this is just a brief microcosm of the meltdown that MAGA is experiencing, driven entirely by fear.
Emily, because I guess she decided, oh, this will be fun to crap on him when he's down, when she perceives him as down. Taylor Swift just endorsed Kamala Harris. Taylor Swift, yeah, she posts a picture of herself with her cat. Would you look at this? You can, of course. Like, you can kiss your sales to the Republican audience goodbye, Taylor. Hope you enjoyed them while you had them. Can I tell you something? I criticized her about 6 months ago when she came out strongly in favor of, she went to a fundraiser to raise money for Hamas, supposedly Palestinians, but the group that was doing the fundraising was known to funnel the money to Hamas. And I said, people should boycott her. It was an offhanded comment. People went nuts. Some lunatic dropped a note in my personal mailbox outside my house begging me not to boycott Taylor Swift, as though I have that power. I'm allowed to criticize Taylor Swift, and I don't give a shit who gets upset. This is disgusting. If she wants to vote Harris Walz, she can do it all she wants. But to say the reason she's doing it is because of Tim Walz's stance on LGBTQ, F you, Taylor Swift.
Her reaction overall is clearly driven by fear, because she knows the influence of Taylor Swift and the potential election-altering impact that her endorsement will have. I should also say her comments about, you can say goodbye to Republican ticket sales. Well, Taylor Swift formally endorsed President Biden in the 2020 election, and she went on to have the biggest tour in recorded history, the Eras Tour, billions of dollars raked in. She's bigger now than she was even in 2020, so I'm not entirely sure that tracks. But again, I can't fault Megyn here entirely, because she's not making a rational assessment. She is driven entirely by fear, because she knows that the power of celebrity endorsements matter, which is why she's so quick to hype up, oh, Kid Rock loves Donald Trump. Nobody cares about Kid Rock. Taylor Swift is infinitely more important and impactful than Kid Rock. Our celebrities outmatch your celebrities, and that's all. The only thing that triggers MAGA is the fact that their celebrities don't matter more. That's it. But anyway, we're going to get into more reactions from MAGA, but I want you to hear in real time Governor Tim Walz, the arch villain of Megyn Kelly's life, apparently, hearing in real time exactly about the Taylor Swift endorsement and why she is finally making that endorsement.
While we have been talking, somebody's just handed me something, and I'm going to do sort of a not very TV thing, and I'm going to read it to you in totality. I'm going to read you the whole thing, because this was, I don't think you know about this, but this was just posted online by a woman you might have heard of whose name is Taylor Swift. And she has posted this online along with a photo of her cat. And I'm going to read to you what she just posted. Quote, like many of you, I watched the debate tonight. If you haven't already, now is a great time to do your research on the issues at hand and the stances these candidates take on the topics that matter to you the most. As a voter, I make sure to watch and read everything I can about their proposed policies and plans for this country. Recently, I was made aware that AI of me, quote me, falsely endorsing Donald Trump's presidential run was posted to his site. It really conjured up my fears around AI and the dangers of spreading misinformation. It brought me to the conclusion that I need to be very transparent about my actual plans for this election as a voter. The simplest way to combat misinformation is with the truth. And then she says, quote, I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 presidential election. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights and causes I believe need a warrior to champion them. I think she is a steady-handed, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we're led by calm and not chaos. I was so heartened and impressed by her selection of running mate Tim Walz, who has been standing up for LGBTQ plus rights, IVF, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. I've done my research and I've made my choice. Your research is all yours to do, and the choice is yours to make. I also want to say, especially to first-time voters, remember that in order to vote, you have to be registered. I also find it's much easier to vote early. I will link where to register and find early voting dates and info in my story. With love and hope, Taylor Swift, signed Childless Cat Lady. I have to get your response to that, Mr. Governor.
All those things, I am incredibly grateful, first of all, to Taylor Swift. I say that also as a cat owner, a fellow cat owner. Look, Swifties, you heard it. We know that it's there. That was eloquent, and it was clear. And that's the type of courage we need in America to stand up. We've seen it out of those Republicans who were at the DNC. We've seen it out of women.
So Governor Walz is obviously very happy about this particular endorsement as well. He should, because, again, this is potentially, not guaranteed, but potentially election changing. Donald Trump was asked about this during his group therapy session earlier today on Fox and Friends, which we did a video about. This was his reaction. Hear the false bravado in his voice, his effort to try to not be intimidated and to be totally unconcerned. But nobody's buying it, Donald.
First, Kamala Harris, what do you think?
Well, I actually like Mrs. I actually like Mrs. Mahomes much better, if you want to know the truth. She's a big Trump fan. I was not a Taylor Swift fan. It was just a question of time. You couldn't possibly endorse Biden. You look at Biden, you couldn't possibly endorse him. But she's a very liberal person. She seems to always endorse a Democrat, and she'll probably pay a price for it at in the marketplace. But no, I like.
So, again, he's echoing essentially the same sentiment that Megyn Kelly put out, which is this idea that, that somehow Taylor Swift will suffer in the marketplace. But that doesn't make any sense, again, because she is bigger now than she ever was, even when she endorsed President Biden back in 2020. So to me, it just seems like pure cope coming from Donald Trump to compensate for the embarrassment. Stephen A. Smith, who is an ESPN sports commentator who also dabbles in politics, he's been interviewed by right-wing figures and Chris Cuomo and others as well. So he commented on this. He says, talk about gaining momentum. Taylor Swift timed this perfectly, revealing her endorsement right after the debate, nearly 2 million likes in 21 minutes. If Donald Trump wasn't in trouble, he sure is now. He should certainly want a second debate. Tommy Lauren, Fox News host and MAGA Republican. She's not happy about this. Well, Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala. This is not good because, again, of course, they recognize the star power there. Piers Morgan. I'm probably going to do a separate video about this because I want to bask in his despair in particular, too. He's supposed to be doing a post-debate panel, doing this. I'm sure he's going to do everything in his power to mitigate the perception of Vice President Harris's victory. But he did say, he said, listen, Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala last night as a childless cat lady is another massive win for Harris. So even Piers, as inclined as he is to grade Donald Trump on a curve, makes, again, no bones about it that this is just an abject disaster for the former president. As a matter of fact, I want to play, these are kind of old clips in the sense that they're months old, but they're still within this election cycle, and I think it's worth mentioning. MAGA Republican, MAGA cultist, TPUSA founder Charlie Kirk is also, or at least previously, panicked about the threat of a potential Taylor Swift endorsement. So I can't imagine how he's going to feel about this now, but this is what he said a few months ago when the topic of a Taylor Swift endorsement came up.
She's not a hardcore, like, she doesn't do the stuff that a political true believer would really do.
Did something. She got 4 million girls registered in like 24 hours. You see that? She broke the website.
That's the thing. It's so easy for her to do that. She's not.
So he thinks she's going to destroy the country again. But he's right in the sense that her impact on voter registration. I mean, again, he gave her kudos there. She got 4 million people to register to vote during voter registration day, which she's done time and time again. During that particular day, she'll talk about the importance of registering to vote. And what almost always follows is a massive swell of voter registrations in the immediate aftermath of her public service announcement to that effect. And it happened again during the most recent voter registration day. 4 million voter registration, an unprecedented number. That's entirely possible that those people won't go out to vote, or that some are even registering Republican, right? It's not just like only registering Democrats. But as you know, MAGA and Republicans and just the right wing in general, they dread maximum voter registration. They dread maximum voter eligibility and voter turnout, because they have gone on the record under the belief that basically the more people vote, the less likely it is for Republicans to win, because it's a tacit concession that, number one, their ideas are not popular. Number two, their candidates are not popular. And number three, they've been particularly lazy and disinterested in trying to court the popularity of American voters. Instead, they tried to strategically suppress voter turnout in various like swing states and use gerrymanderings to allow Republican politicians to pick their electorate, and also maximize institutional advantages as well, like the Electoral College, which is an anti-majoritarian institution. So all of this is to say, and I imagine we're going to get more and more and more and more and more meltdowns from people about Taylor Swift as the day goes on, because this just happened last night. But right now, the ones who have reacted, they're in a full-blown panic because they see the potential here. This is another crucial sign that the electorate is leaning away from Trump. Now, again, the election is going to be very close. Donald Trump has a very galvanized base. The last election was decided by 40,000 votes in a handful of swing states. It's entirely possible for Trump to win. But the reality is sinking in on the opposite side that Trump could very well lose, and Taylor Swift's endorsement is not going to help Trump in any way imaginable. And so, as we delight in their despair, you let me know what you think in the comments.